Welcome back, everyone, to the Amatoria podcast, where we explore the art of love in this disconnected world that we live in by examining history's greatest lovers and their legendary love stories, and of course, featuring special guests. Today is an episode of the Amorati Spotlight. We have a very special guest, a very well-respected member in our community, the Amorati. He is always a voice of clarity and wisdom and truth when times are tough, when things are going up and down. This is always a man that you can turn to, and he's his own coaching practice too. So, Stelios, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today? Beautiful day in Cyprus, I imagine.
Great, and thank you, Justin, for having me to your show. It's an honor, and I've known you for some years now, and it's a real pleasure, really.
Oh wow. Well, let's begin. So I'll make it nice. Okay. So Stelios, we've known each other for over 3 years now. We must have met in May of 2022, and I think
That's right.
if I remember correctly, I was in Athens in May, and you were in Cyprus. I was happy to hear we had an Amorati brother in Cyprus, in near Greece and things like that. And I would love if you could very briefly like paint a picture of your journey as a lover, I guess. It's a big question, but what kind of has been your journey through the land of women, and and what inspired you to start, and where are you now, and things.
Well, since I remember, I've been in the land of women, and
Yeah,
I've been loving women since I remember. Since I was a little kid, I would see the older girls of my age, and I would be really curious. I wanted to be
right.
around them. I loved their energy. And since young age, I really wanted to be as best as possible with women around. I don't know, can you hear me? Okay. Um, and yeah, it's been an amazing journey, and it's been an inspiring journey because wanting to know more about women made me a better man. It's part of my growth, and part of learning how to be a better person. So I learned about this, later on. At the beginning, I thought I was clueless. I thought I wasn't doing it very well. I was shy. I also had the nice guy syndrome at some point. So uh, I'm happy that I've reflected on all these things, and through different adventures, through different relationships, I was forced sometimes to look into the mirror and see my blind spots and see my faults and own things, and inspired me to become better. And I've read a lot of books. I've been to some seminars, and everything has been a big lesson for me. I would say that the biggest lessons were the relationships themselves, because every relationship taught me a lot of things. Every girl in my life taught me a lot of things. And of course, being in the Amorati community has also been very enriching, and I have learned a lot through Zamperion and through his book, especially The Alabaster Girl, which is my favorite book. And the community, the people that comprise this amazing community, they're all inspiring, and I've learned a lot of things from them as well. So yeah, it's a big journey, and I keep on having this journey, and new lessons arrive. I mean, I'm 46, and I still learn, and this is amazing.
Interesting. So you're 46 now. What came to mind when I was listening to you was when you started liking girls, was there any sort of instruction? The was there pickup? Was there seduction? Was there anything? Like there was nothing, right? Because that was before the internet.
Nothing, nothing.
So
Before
so
the
did you have
internet,
like a guy? Yeah.
I also didn't have an older brother to teach me a few things. I didn't have an older sister that could teach me a few things. So I was just learning some things from the girls that I would meet, and from friends. That was it. There was no internet help, nothing like that.
So you had to figure out everything on your own.
Yeah,
Maybe you had some friends or
yeah.
some. That's so interesting to think about because the age we live in, everyone's so in social media. You can find coaches and selling services and things like that. But there was just no. Was there a? Did you have any sort of guide in terms when it came to women, like a local guy that was good with girls, or you would eventually find Zanperi and the Alabaster Girl and maybe some other influences, but like, what was that like to go through that without any, like instruction? And what was dating girls like, in that time period? I would love to know because I have no perspective on this.
Well, it was interesting. We go back like 30 years ago, 25 years ago. Things were very different. There was no social media, talking through messages and then slowly going for a date. You would go straight to a date and uh, be upfront and talk to the girl and say that you are interested. So it could be overwhelming, especially for people who are, for men who are shy. It was, uh, it was more difficult, but you learn to run towards your fear. If you want to be successful, you have to run towards your fear. Otherwise, you don't learn, you don't succeed. I did have some role models, uh, like an older cousin who was very successful with women. So I would copy a few things. I would learn a few things from him, the way he would talk, the way he was more relaxed around girls, and I would slowly start to practice on these things. So this was my kind of like learning back then. I discovered the Alabaster Girl many, many years after. I mean, I was like 40, so and I can say that the Alabaster Girl came to confirm some things that I had learned through these years, and mostly on my spiritual journey, which I will come back on it later on. Um, Basically, it was a confirmation that kindness and being real is a very attractive thing, which sometimes when you want to succeed and you see some others who might not be real and they show off and you might be swayed away and think that maybe you need to show a different picture when you want to be successful around women, but that's not the case. You have to be yourself and you have to be as real as possible. That's the most attractive thing.
So would you say then, because you mentioned the Alabaster Girl kind of confirmed what you had already found to be true in your life experience, that your authentic self is the most attractive self. But we go down these rabbit holes of reading pickup books or red pill or things like that, and without realizing you don't need to do anything external to be great with women, right?
Exactly.
What
Exactly.
specifically? Because I'm curious. Because I had this conversation with my father about a month ago, and I was like, what was dating like in China when you didn't have cell phones, when you didn't have anything? He was telling me he would tell girls like, "Yeah, come meet me at this bench tomorrow at the exact same time," because there's no way to stay in contact. Was there similar sort of experiences for you, Stelios, in this pre-internet kind of time? Because I think this is an unexplored territory, and I would love if you could provide some insight or what that was like.
Well, as I said before, I mean, it would be like uh, raw, you just go for it. There is no checking on photos on Facebook to see how she is and or who are her friends. You had limited available data, and you would just go and find out yourself. And even though it was overwhelming, I think it was very rewarding at the same time because you just step up and you do things, and then the reward follows. So, and regardless, I mean, I was never afraid of rejection. That's one thing I I recognize about myself from the beginning, even though it hurts. I wouldn't stop. It wouldn't stop me. Um, and uh, and later on, I realized that things that don't work, you don't really think about it too much later on. You just focus on the things that worked. So you focus on the girls that you met and you shared experiences rather than a story that never started. So this is something that I learned from the beginning, and it's very valuable to know that it doesn't really matter if something doesn't happen. If it doesn't happen, it's just not meant to happen, and you just have to move forward and be there to live experiences that are there for you.
Wow. So what I hear in what you're saying is that you learned very early on that no is better than I don't know. You will always wonder. I mean, if you go and try,
Absolutely,
you will at least know what not to do the next time, perhaps, right? I wonder, so to tie some threads together, you said you really didn't have any role models. There was no internet. You couldn't pull up YouTube videos of how to get girls, right? That didn't exist. So it just because now you have your own coaching practice. And I wonder, do you feel like because you didn't have that when you were in that lost and searching phase, that some part of you is like, that made you maybe become a coach because you can give that when you didn't have it? Does that make sense? The
absolutely,
question? Like, do you feel like
absolutely,
that influenced your path a bit?
absolutely yes, absolutely yes. I would say that if I had the internet back then and if I had the resources when I was like 16, 17, then I think that I would be able to recognize a few things easier and faster. And I can't see you. Okay, now I can see you. So I could have easily recognized some things like the nice guy syndrome, and I would be able to overcome it faster and easier. Um, Also, I would be able to reach out to a coach and to start coaching at a younger age. Um, Even though I did find a coach when I was 23 after a breakup that caused me, sadness, and I was a bit lost. And thank God for that, because every time I had a breakup, it was a moment of reflection and the moment that I would say, okay, I need to learn a few things. What happened? What went wrong? What did I do wrong? And I would always be a better man after a breakup. So I would also always see a breakup, however hard it might be, as an opportunity to grow. And this for me is very, very valuable. So yes, I did find a life coach, and I was lucky to find my life coach back when I was 23. Through her, I learned a lot of things that inspired me later on to become a coach myself and help younger people. And part of coaching was spirituality. So I I dived into spirituality, and this really helped me, um, and also positive psychology. So these elements shaped my interaction with women. I became a lot better with women because of positive psychology and spirituality. And it comes out, naturally once you start practicing positive psychology and spirituality. It just comes out naturally. You don't think too much about it. You just be yourself, and it works. And because through spirituality and positive psychology, you are more focused on yourself in a good way. Like focusing on what is in your control. You don't focus too much on what's outside your control. You don't care about rejections. You focus on being a good person, kindness, um, and I would say with a combination of some pickup artist techniques, which I'm not totally against pickup artists. It does help you be a bit more cool, a bit more free when you interact with women. So if you use some techniques in a good way and not to exploit another person, then you can have that as well, and it does work. I mean, um, some techniques work, and it's a win-win situation. I mean, as long as your intentions are noble, that's what I would say.
Wow. So I had two questions come up, and I'll drop both of them. And if you want to
Yeah.
answer which one appeals to you more. So the first question is, by finding a life coach when you were in your early development, right? You save essentially perhaps thousands of hours of banging your head against the wall that you would have had to go through alone, right? So the question is, what is the role of a mentor in someone's development, whether that's, for dating, and what makes a good coach versus a bad coach? There's some coaches that tell you what you want to hear and take your money, and then you feel good, but you don't actually get any change or transformation, right? And then there's like what makes a difference? Because you've been coaching for over 10 years, maybe 20 years. Tell us how long. Like, right? So what, like, in your vast experience, is like a difference maker between if someone like takes action, or just, uses coaching as mental masturbation, if we talk in Fight Club, right? And then also, second question, uh pickup artists, it's better than doing nothing, right? It can be good for someone's development if they know absolutely nothing. But what makes a difference of if women enjoy the experience, or not? Whichever question you want to answer.
Well, what makes a good coach and a good mentor? Well, that was your first question, right? I think the key here is to listen to your client, and to offer a tailor-made experience based on your client's needs, instead of having, like a recipe for everyone. No, that's not the case. You should be able to listen, be patient, listen, learn your client, and then offer a tailor-made um, coaching practice. And yes, of course, you will use some techniques and some for everyone, but it should be focused on the specific needs that your client has. So that would be my advice to other coaches, is to focus on your client, and if you offer a tailor-made service, that's the best service that you can offer. And what was the second question about pickup artists?
So, for example, there's a guy that wants to be good with girls, but he knows nothing. He has no experience. He's a virgin, whatever, right? Uh, there's good things that can be learned from pickup artists, just like there's good things you can take from red pill, right? You could say
Yes.
red pill guys understand women, but they hate women, unfortunately, right? But they understand that, right? So, and pickup artists, well, it gets you doing something in real life as opposed to reading more books, more courses, more theory, and sort of things, right? So where is the balance between manipulation, or like an experience that where you leave and the girl doesn't feel taken advantage of, in your experience? Can you use these things? I would be curious if you could expand on this idea of using pickup artistry for good.
Okay. I think if a pickup artist has no um, has no good intentions, and then definitely this would be not a very good experience for a woman, because she will be, uh, let's say, manipulated. But if a pickup artist is also spiritual, is a kind person, is someone who really wants to get to know the woman, and not just a superficial approach, then yes, those techniques can be blended into the personality and into the approach of this person, and the whole experience will be just fine. There will be no problems at all. So I think the key here is the intentions behind it, and how the person is uh, approaching it, and how deep this person is. And And if they have, these elements of spirituality in them, if they are kind, if they are noble, if they are true, if they are truthful,
Because at some level, girls want guys to approach them and be skillful with that, right?
Absolutely,
And to lead.
absolutely.
So the difference between a true lover of women and someone that's just out to take from women is, like you said, spirituality and kindness, then, in a way. Like
Yeah.
they want everyone to
Let,
have a
let,
good
let,
experience
let,
around them.
let's say an example just for the people to understand better what we're talking about, pickup artist techniques and being kind and everything. I mean, let's say that the guy is a really good person and he's really curious and he really wants to meet a girl and he starts talking to a girl. There is an initial attraction, and this guy keeps on talking, and he stays there and he just talks for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and the conversation becomes a bit tense, and then the girl might lose interest. So this is a common mistake that when you know if you pick up artist techniques, you know that you don't stay for a long time. You need to maintain your level of being interesting, and the excitement and the mystery. Someone might say, yeah, this is a trick, this is a pick up artist technique. Well, I would say that maybe if you see it in a bad way, you can call it a trick, but I would say it's a skill. So you see, with one word, the whole concept changes. We could say that pickup artist skills versus tricks. Maybe you can say it this way. So the same guy who's a very nice person and a kind person and very curious and truthful and noble, he can use this skill of not staying for a long time, keeping the mystery, and keep the girl interested. And this is an example of how a pickup artist technique skill can help um, a guy with all the good intentions in his heart.
So I would like to maybe explore this in the context of your journey, because you've come a long way from where you started, right? And in terms of becoming a great lover, right? And so what normally we would ask it at the end of the podcast, but I feel like it's appropriate to ask now, like what, because less is more. Every person that goes through and learns something realizes this, right? You learn all the stuff and then you figure out and then you realize none of the rules matter, things like that. What would you tell yourself at the start of the journey, someone that's listening to this podcast that's lost, that doesn't know where to begin, Like what is the most simple yet elegant way that you could, like, what would you tell that person? That makes sense.
As a first advice to a person to a person who is lost, well, I would say find yourself. Start with yourself. You cannot go into a journey to meet other people, whether that's friends or a girl that you're interested in, if you are not yourself. So my advice would be find yourself, found yourself, and uh, and then take some small steps ahead to start meeting women. Uh, it's the same really with meeting friends. If you are not yourself, you will not be able to connect with the people that you really want. So yes, my advice is always start with yourself.
So start with yourself. And what are some other lessons that you've picked up along your, along your journey? What are some other wisdoms, that, like, things that you had to fight for, in that are hard won, not from a book or from AI or from these things, but from your own experience. I know you mentioned you had a heartbreak at 23, and but you didn't let it drag you down. You transformed into someone more wise, stronger. Like, like more of a man because of how you responded to these sorts of situations, right? So I'd love to know some of the other things that you've learned along the way in your journey.
I mean, yeah, back then I was really heartbroken, but then I realized after some reflection and then with the help of my coach that a lot of this suffering was because of my ego. So learning about your ego is one big step towards growth. And trust me, ego has many faces, and it will manifest in ways that you don't expect many times. So you have to be able to recognize it. You have to be able to be brave to recognize it and accept it. And once you recognize and accept it, then you can start working on your ego. So this is one example. The other example is the power of love, which I have learned through these years and through my relationships. And actually, this can be applied in any situation in your life. To bring love in every difficult situation can really help you. Can be a question of how can I do this with love? How can I think about myself with love? Um, and I've really learned this that love and fear don't coexist. So many times, things that we suffer from are fear based. So if you bring love and if you start practicing love, it can greatly help you overcome your fears.
I would love to know in a more practical way how you can, because I'm sure that's an easy to understand concept like in the mind, right? But then when it comes to the actual situation, like what are some tools or mechanisms that you use to get back into that state of self-love? Because I completely agree, the fear and love cannot coexist, right? So, but how do you manufacture that for yourself if you don't know what that means? Does that make sense?
You can do this in many ways, Justin. Gratitude is one way to have gratitude in your life, to be grateful about the most simple things. Um, I always remind myself how lucky I am that I have uh, my animals that I really love, that I have my good health. Things that many times we just overlook and we consider them um, that we have them and they won't never leave us. So uh, be grateful for what you have is one advice, and this connects with the love aspect. The other thing is to acts of kindness. Offer love. It can be through helping someone in the street, an old lady carrying, bags. This connects you with the love channel. Um, the other thing that I always do and it really helps is breathing techniques. I might, stop 5 minutes just to do some basic breathing techniques, breathing and counting to four, exhaling, counting to six. Simple techniques that, just 5 minutes is enough to ground you and bring you back to the present. And then you can focus more on loving yourself and loving others. Um,
Great. Wow. So the three
mhm.
were number one, gratitude, and number two, kindness, and number three, breath work, and to slow down and become more grounded. I remember seeing an interview, I don't remember from who. It was very recent, and they were saying they were talking to a bunch of billionaires and, really rich people, and they asked for advice, this guy, and the answer every single time was your health. Focus on your health, take care of your health, because these guys have all the money in the world, right? Because you lose your health, you lose everything. And
That's absolutely right. Health is the number one, and also time. You
yeah,
cannot buy time. Time
yeah.
passes by, and so if you focus on the important things in your life, and you focus on love, you focus on your health, then you live a content life, a fulfilling life.
Wow. So what is a good life? What is a life well lived to you that you have? that you have found through your life experience?
Um, I would say definitely adventures, uh, sharing adventures with others, with your friends, with your loved ones. Um, love, loving your family, loving your friends, loving your girl, um, being in love. These are things that you will never forget, and also being proud of who you are, being proud of your journey, being proud of the mistakes you've done, as long as you've accepted them and you've searched for a better road, a better path, uh, being kind to yourself. And yeah, I think that's it really. Looking back and saying to yourself, I did the best I could at that time, and I honor that, and I'm appreciative of that, and I'm grateful.
So we come back to gratitude, huh? Gratitude and do what you love with who you love as much as you can. That sounds like a life pretty well lived to me. So what does that look like for you now? Because you've come a long way. What is your, I would love to know your current relationship. Uh, did you find how you exist to women? Does that make sense? Like what did you discover about your relationship to women, and where is your current understanding of that now? Like how do you see things now?
Uh, How I see things now is that I realize you never stop learning. However sure you might be about yourself, a relationship will always come and teach you new things, new blind spots, and new opportunities to grow, basically. So yes, I love being in this long-term relationship now. It's been 5 years, and I really love the girl I'm with. I love how talented she is, and she's very inspiring, and we both have this spiritual connection. But at the same time, we do have some challenges, and this for me is an inspiration. Really, I see it as an inspiration and as an opportunity to grow further and to learn more, because learning never stops. And this is also part of who I am. I am a student of life. I will keep on learning until the last day I'm here. So I'm happy to have this relationship that provokes me to learn and to look at myself, and to look myself in the mirror and question things. Uh, but I'm also happy that through my learning so far, I don't blame myself about things. I keep cool, and I trust myself that I will figure out some things that might be challenging. And this is really a big, um, it's a powerful thing to manage, is to be kind to yourself, to talk kindly to yourself, and to have this conviction that things will be better as long as you love yourself, and as long as you don't um, and as long as you are brave enough to accept that however uh, big knowledge you might have, there are still things to learn.
So I have two threads in what you're saying. The first is the student of life. The only thing I know is that I know nothing, right? But and that is what you've come to realize, because the more you think you know, the less you actually know, right? And the second one, I would love to explore this with you, man, is this idea of this lover of life. Because we've mentioned gratitude and we've mentioned
Yes.
a love, self-love, love for the people you care about. And but this idea of Zan Perrion wrote in his book, every lover of women is a lover of life. Not all lovers of life are lovers of women, but every lover of women is a lover of life. And so bad things happen to everyone. Right? How do you, and because I see you as a great lover of life, you've lived a splendid life, and I bet the life that you have is exactly the one that you want. And I don't think that's something that most people can say. When I view you, this is how I kind of see it. So you love your life in a way, right? And it sounds so simple, but a lot of people do not actually love the life that they live. So what do you think about this in terms of this of being a lover of life, even in the bad times, even when it's raining, even when times are tough? How do you, which goes back to that self-love thing that we talked about, right? But what would you say about this being this lover of life and this student of life?
Well, it's about loving yourself, really, not in a selfish way. When you love yourself, you are ready to experience life. That's how I see it. So if you're in a crossroad, if you're in a rut, you might be a bit, what's what's life about? Disappointed. So you start going towards that direction. But when you ground yourself and when you start working with yourself and when you start accepting yourself and when you start loving yourself, then you are loving life because everything around you is an opportunity. Everything around you is you see the beauty. You start seeing the beauty again in the most simple forms. So yeah, I mean, I think that's how being a lover of life connects with being a lover of women and loving yourself. I mean, how can you love women if you don't love yourself? You cannot.
That's something to think about, man. You're saying it great. Do you have anything more to add to that? Because I think you're saying it incredibly. Maybe that's the answer to everything that we look so much for things externally, but we realize if you were just to love yourself, everything would come back to
I
that
would
point.
say
I
I
can
would
already.
say just be honest with yourself. Just reach out for help if you need help. Uh, Help will help you grow. So reach out and don't be afraid to talk to someone who can help you. Uh, because as I said before, time is so precious. So don't wait. Don't let things go on their own. Uh, Grab life, and just do it without waiting for too long.
Grab life by the balls.
Exactly, exactly. And also I would say start practicing not listening too much of what other people think, because these I found for many people is something that uh, keeps them small. They don't do the extra step. What others might say. I mean, it's your life. It's not the other person's life. So if you are worried what the other person will say, it means that you are giving your life to them, and they will decide for you. That's not right. That's not right. Uh,
So would you say, Stelios, then sorry to interrupt you, that not caring what people think about you is actually a huge part of loving yourself,
yes,
valuing
absolutely.
what you do, and because you, I'm curious what you would respond to this. There's this thought experiment of if what it took to make everyone else in the world happy was your own happiness, is that a good trade? Probably not, right? This plays into nice guy syndrome and people pleasing patterns, and I wonder, it's it's a it's a simple thing, but it's like a controversial thing, right? Like your self-love means valuing what you think about yourself more than what others think about you in a way then, right? In
Yes, loving yourself means taking care of yourself. Taking care of yourself, taking care of your health, taking care of your mental state, moving towards growth. This is loving yourself. This is what I mean by loving yourself. Um, so I would say that if someone comes in on your way and they're obstructing you towards this goal, whether it's your health or your mental state or your growth, then love yourself and don't let other people interrupt you. Whether this is a friend, whether this is a girlfriend, you have to learn how to use your boundaries to protect yourself in order to be able to continue growing. and um, and also to accept that whatever comes your way, if it was out of your control, take the lesson and let it go, and never go into this suffering mode. Some things might be painful; it's part of life. Pain comes. But if you overdo it and you start suffering, then you are doing it to yourself. So, as they say, pain is necessary, suffering is optional. I fully agree with that. You just take the pain, you accept it, be brave, take it, learn, grow, and definitely don't stay and suffer.
So I'm really resonating with your share, man, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on how brotherhood and because it's not like you don't care what anyone else thinks of you, right? Johnny Soprano says he doesn't care about the opinions of people he doesn't admire. But how does that role of tribe and brotherhood and community play into all of this? Because it's a different form of love, I think, that you can have in community that you can't have or create for yourself, right? How do you see this in your journey with the Amorati or maybe with other groups? How has that affected your path? If I can speak personally, just to know that there's guys like you out there, like there was a guy like Zan before us, that there's cool guys doing cool things, going and banging hot girls in every city across the world. That's a cool thought to me, just to know that there's guys out there. It's permission and it's okay to be a man that's a horny guy that loves life, that's horny for life.
Absolutely.
That's a good thing because you don't get that sort of support at school or the way that we're raised, right? Being a man is inherently a bad thing, etc. So what's your take on community and brotherhood and how did it change your life? And should every man go and find that?
It's super important. Friendships are super important, and also I remember back when I was studying psychology, there was because I studied positive psychology as well, and there was an article by the Times Magazine called "The Science of Happiness," talking about how positive psychology was created and what are the basic concepts and what is happiness basically. And one of the basic elements that was analyzed in the article was the importance of friendships. And so having people around you, people that you can count on and that they can support you and you can support them, you can receive love and that you can give love, it's super important. Yeah, like the Brotherhood and the Amorati is an important element in my life. I value all the brothers in the community and um, like-minded approaches and shared philosophies. I just love that, and I love how honest and open everyone is, and talking about our adventures and also our painful experiences and our growth stories. It's all very inspiring. So, yeah, I would say that it's very important, the aspect of friendship, and it's also very important how you choose your friends. I mean, do friends bring you down or do friends inspire you? So you have to be able to reflect on your friendships as well, the same way you reflect on yourself, and to be able to make the right choices. And I really do believe that um, you you shape yourself based on also on who your friends are. So you have to be careful who you choose to be around you. And if you want to be a person who wants to love women and loves life and loves love, then choose people who are similar with you and not people who are the opposite. Many times we fall into the trap of helping people, show them the right road. I mean, I am all for that to support people and help them, but it, this happens when people ask for your help. People who don't ask for your help and they have their own perceptions and their own opinions and they are so different from yours. I don't see a very matching friendship there. It can be inspiring in some ways, maybe, to learn a few different things from how you do things. But to the core, it's not going to be a very deep friendship.
How did you develop your self-love? Did you always have it? You know, because I'm thinking of the people you have listening to this podcast, and you have to look yourself in the mirror and you have to be there for yourself because no one's gonna do it for you, right?
Yes.
Uh, how did you find that in your own experience when you were lost, when you had you said cousin who was good with women, right? Like a bit of an inspiration, right? Like, I guess, how did you find that sense for yourself in your personal journey, like your self-love? How did you realize that? You know,
Well, the self-love journey, let's say, it started with reading some books, and later on the internet, I could find some ebooks that really helped me. That they were written for breakups because I was trying to understand breakups, and and through those books, I understood a few things about myself. But let's say the biggest change happened when I went for coaching. So my coaching as a client, my coaching experience as a client was very important, and it really changed the way I saw myself, and the self-love um, concept really, um, I started developing it, and it became integral into my journey and into my life.
there was a sense of you. Well, we talk about vulnerability, right? And most people think, man, you can't be vulnerable. But being vulnerable is one of the greatest displays of strength you can have as a man, right? For example, if things aren't working, being vulnerable and recognizing that, and then going and seeking someone that could show you the light or show you a better way forward, right? In your case, that just being shown that it was possible from a coach was part of your journey to your self-love, right? In my case, it was, to share a quick story. I think I was raised in this Asian achievement oriented household with a ton of sexual shame. I was a horny guy. I mean, not around girls, of course, because that was disrespectful, right? But then after working with Johnny Saporno, big shout out to that guy. I hope he's doing well in Vegas. The guy had this in his house, clothing optional beyond this point sign in his nice house in Vegas. And the guy would walk around naked and no shame about it. He's an old, balding, chubby guy, right? And it's like, wow. So this guy is like an inspiration. He was like a sort of father figure. And there was something so interesting about, if he can be comfortable with who he is, why can't I? You know, there was like, just to see that it was possible is maybe the it would have taken me another couple years or some more wrong coaches or whatever to discover that same sort of thing. So to the person listening, I think sometimes you just need permission to know that it is possible you before you can just love yourself, you know. After that, I remember I was a virgin. No, I had been with one girl in college, and it was a bad experience for both of us. Before working with Johnny, I came home, and then I was better with women. And as soon as I was good, uh, got a girlfriend. Didn't get to use my skills, and I was upset about that. And these things are so, interesting to think about in retrospect. But going out and finding a mentor will, even if it costs you some money, I mean, you're buying your time back, right? You're using your time in a better way. But there's also a lot of people selling snake oil, you know? So, ha- which goes back to that thing of does the coach really care about you, or is it just one size fits all, make money sort of a thing? How can you tell the difference, do you think?
How you can tell a difference as a client, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, like as someone that's looking at a coach, for example, because everyone makes big promises and it's the internet. Anyone can be anyone, right?
Yeah. I would say that you will definitely understand if the code if the certain code is right for you from how you feel with them during the session. Um, if you feel comfortable, if you start learning things, that's a big positive indication. So that's one aspect. The other aspect, as a client, you have to be patient. If you are someone who expects that with 1 or 2 sessions you're going to be a different person, you need to reevaluate your expectations. Changes don't happen so fast. You have to be patient, and patience is a virtue. So you have to be patient during coaching sessions. And then the other thing is, as I said, how comfortable you feel with your coach. It means that you will be more open and more honest, and so that you can go deeper into the healing process. If you don't feel trust, if you don't feel confident, you will not go deep. So I think this is how it is. I mean, this is how you recognize if this coach is right for you. And I would say that always remember that you can try, you can see how it feels. Sometimes the chemistry might not be there. If it's not there, then it's not there. It's no problem. Go and find another coach. But I do believe that coaching is a great way to learn new things and in a faster way than trying to do it through friends or through reading. Coaching is faster. You just go there, you start talking, you open subjects, you learn a few techniques, you go back, you think, you reflect. And one of the greatest things that you start learning through coaching is reflection. To be able to sit and just think, what happened? What did I say? What did I learn today? How could I do this better? Yeah, I learned this thing today and I should try that. Let's try this. Let's explore that. So this reflection is how you learn. So once you develop your reflection skills, I mean, that's the best way uh, to to uh, to be better through coaching.
I would also add to take action and not just to you coaching as the end goal, to implement the things
Absolutely,
as well. Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. So let's switch the topic a bit, Stelios. What have you learned about women? What have you learned about women that you did not know before? What do you know about women now that you wish you had known at the start?
What I know about women now that I didn't know before, well, I learn about women every single day. Every single day, I learn new things about women, and my biggest teacher is my girlfriend, who I'm with for 5 years. And I I would say that the more I learn about the new things that I learn about women are new things that I learn about myself and how I deal with things, with challenges. So the more I learn about this, I would say I learn about women. And one advice that I would give is that, uh, a long-term relationship is a school on its own. It's like a university. It's a degree. So learning how to pick up girls is one thing, flirting, short-term relationships. But if you go into a long-term relationship, it's a different ball game. Some elements, yes, you bring from what you learn about the approach and everything, but a long-term relationship, dynamics shift. Yourself shifts through these dynamics, and um, your vulnerability, as you said before, you become more exposed. Emotions play. You learn how to manage your emotions better. You learn how to align your emotions, your heart with your mind. This is a huge learning. What I just said. I mean, it's a huge thing which I'm still trying to fully embrace. Because sometimes I'm driven more on the mind thing. Um, so yeah, I learn every day, man. I learn every day, and I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for this opportunity. I'm grateful for my girlfriend, and I'm appreciative, and yeah, it's amazing. You never stop learning. Once you are in a long-term relationship, and if you really care, and if you want to maintain this long-term relationship and to have a healthy relationship, uh, you never stop learning.
There's some wisdom that a very close friend of mine, and you know him, Stelios, said that dating one girl is actually more difficult than dating a bunch of girls because you get to run away when you
Absolutely.
know,
You go deeper.
y- well, there's that. So I'm very curious what you think about this because in terms of being a great lover, you could be a great lover to hundreds or thousands of women, right? You could also mindfully choose to be a like the greatest lover that you can be with one woman, right? And to go infinitely deep,
Yes.
which you mentioned is from real care and gratitude. So, what is your experience? Because I imagine some, especially in the Amorati, we want to be like the greatest lovers, right, that she's ever known. Whatever is the most true, there's not one answer that's necessarily more correct than the others, right? So I wonder, after 5 years with the same woman, and there's ups and downs for sure, right? How do you what are the questions that you ask yourself, and in terms of being the greatest possible lover? Of course, it's a relationship to yourself, but for her as well, you know? Does that kind of make sense? Yeah.
Yeah. So you mean what questions arise during this long-term relationship, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
Uh, Different questions and in different timings, you know. I remember at the beginning when I was going deep into the relationship, uh, I questioned myself on matters like uh, being too open about myself, and when do I start opening up a lot. It's also the tricky part of the emotions, because you know usually the emotions are sometimes one person is a bit more into the relationship, the other one is a bit following. Dynamics might change. That can be a tricky part, which basically you learn to just be in the present and accept the situation as it is, and be in the present and focus on how you can be your best version according to the situation that you are in. So my advice would be not to rush and think too much about the future or the past. Stay focused on the present. Well, there are a lot of things. The other thing is sexuality and the passion, and how it can fluctuate throughout the years, and how you can be open with your relationship. There are so many things to learn in a long relationship. Uh, there can be external factors that come into play a part, and you see how you communicate with your girl, and you can build on this communication and be better at the communication so that you can speak without offending and listen without defending. Um, so yeah, I've gone through different phases, I would say, and I still do. I mean, new things arise, some things have been resolved, and but I keep my focus also on the important aspect of appreciating with who you are every single moment, and to look at your girl, and to admire your girl, and to be to talk to her in an appreciative way and an admiring way, and at the same time protecting your own um, masculinity, I would say. Uh, Protecting your own masculinity, I mean it in the sense of uh, keeping some element of mystery, uh, keeping keeping the important things that you like to do, keep doing them, to not stop doing things because of your girlfriend. So be that person that she met you at the beginning. That's very important. If you lose that and you become something else, then things might be a problem. So yeah, these are some things that come to
That's
mind.
beautiful. Wow. I what came up when I was listening to that is so many guys they date this girl, but they either were being someone that they weren't using pickup or whatever, right? And so as the relationship progresses, the mask falls and the girl realizes this is not who I fell in love with because he wasn't
Yes,
who he was from the start, right?
yes.
Y- Uh, that wow. I think there's a discussion of to do more or to be more, right? And maybe to answer the question from earlier, the difference between a true lover of woman is that he is more. He what he says and what he does comes from his love of women, his love of life, and it's not because the technique and the theory falls flat when it's like the pickup artist gets the phone number, but they ask, "How do you get a woman that loves you forever?" Right? There's levels and shades to this sort of thing. So I would love,
It's authenticity, right? It's
yes,
authenticity basically. It's being authentic and being able to one thing that I learned in this relationship um, is that showing vulnerability is not something bad, and actually it can be attractive for a girl. Now, being vulnerable comes in different ways. What I mean vulnerable is being honest with your feelings and being brave to share some feelings. Not to, I don't mean vulnerable in the sense of showing to your girl that "Oh, I'm out of control and I don't know what to do." No, that's not being vulnerable. Um, that's being pathetic, basically. No, what I mean vulnerable is to tell her, you know what, I'm really skeptical about this thing because it makes me feel a bit uncomfortable and help me out to understand why I feel this way. This way, women love. So, so I would say don't be afraid to show vulnerability, as long as this vulnerability that you show is with honesty and bravery. Bravery. Don't be afraid to show your emotions.
"He who is brave is free." I forgot who the quotes come from, but
Yes.
you touched on something that I'd like to expand. I would love if you expanded a bit more on it, and then we can close out this
Hmm.
podcast. And that is retaining your mystery, your mystique, your adventure as a man, even in 5 years relationship. My longest relationship is only 13 months, with this girl who I broke up with because I wanted to date other girls around the world, to say it frankly. Unlucky girl, I guess. And she's a great girl and we're still good friends, but I wonder what is that so here's the question I'll ask you first. How many women, well, not necessarily, I'll ask you this. How many women do you think a man should date before he picks one woman, if that makes sense? Because there's this always eternal of maybe more women, or maybe I should pick one woman, Like how would you navigate this? Not I don't want a specific number, but how do you
Um,
kind of navigate that question? Maybe it comes back to knowing yourself.
I think there is no right or wrong here, Justin. There's no right or wrong. Some guys, they date when they're 16, 17, 18, and then they stay for a long-term relationship. They learn through this relationship and they learn long-term relationship, whereas someone else might have like 10 girlfriends, but he only stays for a month, so he never learns what happens 2, 3, 4 months, 2 years, 3 years after. So there's no right or wrong. I think as long as you are there and you live the experience and you say, I'm going to learn from this experience, I'm going to be a better man, and I'm going to accept my wrongdoing and I'm going to develop it and I'm going to grow, as long as you do that, you're on the right track. So there's no right or wrong. How many women before you date someone? Uh, no. If you feel like this girl is for you and you want to try a long term relationship, go for it. You're going to learn. If it's not and you want to have many dates, go for it, you're going to learn. That's how I see it. They're both valuable lessons there.
And be open to being wrong as well, and changing your course if something becomes more true, right? Wow. Oh, and yeah, great, man. There's so much wisdom you have, man. I'm glad I got you on the podcast. And I would love to maybe if you could close us out then with how does a man, maybe from your experience, like how do you maintain your mystery and your adventure and your wild heart? Because women will try to tame you, right? So how do you maintain that in your own relationship, and any closing wisdom you have for
I would say that the biggest thing is what we talked earlier about self-love. If you love yourself, you're not afraid. You're not afraid of losing a girl. You're not afraid of, and if you're not afraid of losing a girl, you will not do things that are not you. So if you keep real and if you are authentic, so basically, self-love will protect you from doing things that are not you. They will protect your authenticity. If you don't love yourself, you are afraid that you will lose a girl, that you will lose your woman, and then you fall into the trap of being someone else. So self-love will lead you to uh, keeping your mystique, keeping your mystery, doing the things that you love, doing the things uh, that she found attractive on you right from the beginning. And so if you keep being yourself, authentic with your self-love, and you know what, regardless of being with a girl or not, when you want to learn new things, go to places, do your own adventures, keep doing that. I mean, I'm not saying to not include your girl. Of course, you will include her in many things, but at the same time, keep some part of yourself exactly as it was at the beginning. A person who has his own space, his own time, he will go to the beach and do his windsurfing, or he will go with his friend for, do whatever ritual they do together. Keep those things. They're part of you. If you lose these things, you lose your essence and you lose your instinct. That's how I see it.
so again, we come back to self-love, huh? First is your self-love will prevent you from caring too much what people think about you. And the other side of that is that your self-love will stop you from true self-love will stop you from doing things that you wouldn't do just to impress other people, right? Friends,
Yes.
girls,
Because you would
family.
do that because you would do that out of fear. But if you have self-love, you don't have fear.
Wow. And those two cannot coexist.
Those two cannot
Beautiful.
coexist.
Wow, man.
If the fear is there, push forward and search for the love. Go for the love and cultivate love. Because sometimes fear can be persistent, especially if it's something you carry for years. It's there, it's persistent. I understand. Just be patient and cultivate love, and you will see the difference.
What an incredible lesson. Yeah, I wish you had told me that when I started this journey, you know? And so for people curious and to work with you, Stelios, should they just add you on Facebook? I'll put
Absolutely,
all the links.
absolutely. They can find me on LinkedIn or Facebook, and they can send me a message, and I would be happy to talk to them and see
Yeah.
where the journey goes.
Wow. Yeah, a lot of wisdom in today's conversation, I think, man. I will, so we will link all of how to find you, Stelios, in the description below. Do you have any closing thoughts or anything you want to impart? Uh, the final message.
Let's start from the beginning. So I would like to thank you, Justin, for what you are doing, because now with the internet, the people have the resources, and videos from you and your podcast and everything can be an inspiration for many people. And you are playing a very important part into so many people's effort to improve their lives. So thank you for the opportunity to have me in your show. And I would also love I also love the idea that I might be an inspiration to someone. And let's continue the journey, man. Let's continue this journey of helping others, the journey of love, appreciating and loving women, and above all, loving ourselves.
Incredible. I'm always happy to have you on, man, and for you to share your wisdom and your hard-won insights is, I think, what this world needs now. So, okay, well, it was great to talk to you, man. I would love to have you on again soon. And until then, let's see everyone
Definitely, definitely, I
next
would
week.
love to.
Okay, take care, everyone. Be safe. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, thank you, Justin.
Yeah.